Have you ever felt like you weren't good enough or that you weren't worthy? How did that impact other aspects of your life? Your relationships? Have you ever been told your dream has no space in being developed? Have you ever had all of the cards stacked up against you? How old were you when this happened? Was it deflating? Or did you have someone who turned the mirror around on you and allowed you to see your greatness? Our guest on today's podcast, Shawntan Howell, the founder of Girls Are Powerful, will talk with us about taking your passion and moving it into action, impacting the lives of those around you positively, fostering and developing strong relationships that empower not only you, but younger women and boys in your life. But mainly, we're here today to talk about relationships as mother and daughter. I met Shawntan after hearing so many great things about her. If you need light in your life today, or any day, listen to Shawntan. Her spirit is contagious and so wonderful to have that energy that you can feel even if it's through your earbuds or through your computer screen. So thank you for tuning in and listening. As always, if you know someone, especially a mom, no matter what age her daughter is at, who could utilize special encouragement, tune in to this podcast today. And thank you, Shawntan, for sharing your wisdom with us.
Girls Are Powerful started in 2013 because I wanted to surround my daughter with positive messaging, right? I really wanted her to know that she was beautiful, smart, confident, unique, and determined, and that she had this power that no one can take away from her. And at that time, it wasn't really about self-esteem. It was really about her finding her space and understanding that she can take up space. Because she went to a predominantly white school. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the conversation started to just kind of shift about, you think I could straighten my hair, or is my hair too curly? Or, I mean, and it became like identifying things that made her stand out, like I'm too tall or things like that. And I stand at 6'1". So when I started to notice those different things, I had to go in my Rolodex to think about what can I do to support my daughter during these transition years that was opposite of my experience, right? And I grew up in Chicago, and I went to a predominantly Black school, and my experience was never around my hair or my skin color. It was always me being taller than everybody in the classroom. And so, but I knew how that teasing impacted me. And that's not what I really wanted for her. And so to be in Minnesota and be in a space where my color was now a problem or a concern, or however folks want to just kind of play that out in their universe. But my skin color was a problem. My height was a problem. Me being a woman was a problem coming into the tech world. And I knew firsthand how that made me feel, and I didn't want that for my daughter. So long story short, I really wanted to create this foundation for her to know that she had everything that she needed already within her. All we needed to do is give her the tools and techniques to access those things, right? In times of, I call life a roller coaster. At those times where it's down, it's low, we wanted to give her the tools that she needed to just kind of navigate that space, right? And we started with a product line, an inspirational product line of T-shirts and more. And the whole vision behind that was to start conversations with girls about what they already have and serve as that reminder for them to embrace that. So one of the T-shirts would say, "Girls are powerful, owning my power and using it wisely." So if you have that T-shirt on and in that moment you're not feeling powerful, you can just say, okay, let me own my power and use it wisely. Let me take a breath. So really like that affirmation or um, just that moment reflection. But it also serves as conversation starters, right? So you read the T-shirt and you're like, oh, well, girls are powerful. Am I powerful? Am I owning my power? So that self-reflection. So that was my whole vision. And Jalen wore the T-shirts and started conversations. Teachers were having, putting the T-shirts on and having conversation with the girls in their classes. And the rest is kind of history. I can go into like where we are now if you want me to keep.
Yeah, let's talk about, like this is the cycle, but before we get to where we are now, because I think that, it wasn't easy to get to where you are now. So let's talk about some of the things that came into your space that hindered or blocked you, or naysayers, or people that literally said to you, your idea isn't valid. Like you don't have.
Oh yeah. So I created.
Like girls aren't powerful. Well, like, seriously, who argues with that? But anyway.
Oh my goodness. Well, I did get that. It was quite fascinating. That's my word. Quite fascinating. So when we developed this product line, and I'll send you a picture. We took it on the road. We traveled to vendor shows across the Twin Cities, the craft and the vendor shows. We actually went to Chicago. We went to Indiana. Products were sold in California, Philadelphia. So a nice reach. So when I saw like the potential in what we created, I actually reached out to a couple of the lenders in the Twin Cities. And I was actually told that there was no market for my work. And I was backing this product financially, and I couldn't get any support to just kind of help mass produce or get our logo like updated and things like that. And so instead of them, trying to figure out a way, I think I got $1,000 because I bought charms. That's the most money that I got. And it was a grant to support my product line. And it was all very frustrating because I'm just like, how is it that all of these other, entities can, develop products, and here I am, can't even get anyone to support me. So in that conversation with that person, they mentioned to me that my best bet was to move into a nonprofit space. Now, that wasn't anything new to me. It was just at the time, I just had a lot going on, right? I was getting my grad degree, working full-time, family, and I'm just like, programming services wasn't, where I was trying to go. I really was trying to figure out how to create generational wealth for me as an entrepreneur, right? But roadblocks prevented that. And, thinking back to when I was at these trade shows and talking to moms and caregivers, they were asking like, is there more? Can you give us more? What else can we do? Because we want to stay connected. So moving into the nonprofit arena to offer programs wasn't a no-brainer. It just kind of came a little faster than I anticipated because of current state, right? I couldn't, launch the product line to support the nonprofit. So we moved into a nonprofit state to offer programming and services, one that I still was backing for a good number of years, because you just don't magically, I thought that you magically, you start a nonprofit, you talk about your mission, you get everybody feeling all warm and fuzzy, and then money comes. Well, that's not the truth either, right?
Yep.
So I still had to back that entity until we can start showing our impact in the community. And I still to this day remember when we first got the $20,000 grant. I was just like, oh my God. Actually, the very first one was $5,000, and it brought me to tears because I was just like, crap. Somebody is starting to see us and starting to see the value of our work. So it has not been it's still not that easy. I mean, everybody in the organization is still volunteer based. I still volunteer, probably.
It's a second full-time job.
Yes, it is my second full-time job. but the outcome of our work is the driving force, right? So when I'm exhausted and feeling like I want to kind of give up on this, I get messages like last week at our youth advisory board meeting. The question on the table was, who is your role model? And two of the girls said Shawntan Howell. And I'm just like, this is why I do what I do. And one explicitly said, Shawntan, I don't think I've ever told you this, but whenever anyone asks me who's my role model, I always talk about you. And I was like, holy baloney, tears, right?
Yep.
And what she said was she remembers when she was one of the very first group of girls that went through the program. And she said, I just remember you encouraging me to look in the mirror and say to myself, I am beautiful, smart, confident, unique, and determined. And I still hold that true in my heart today, that I have all of these things and it's because of you. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So that is that piece that kind of keeps me going and kind of pushing this work forward.
That's just beautiful. Who's your inspiration? Who's your role model? How did you discover your own strength, uniqueness, determination?
I think it's been an evolution. So I come from a great foundation with my mom, because I wouldn't be in like Minnesota or just kind of knowing that there's so much more than your circumference, right? There's so much more, and that came from her. And me understanding, like, if we lived here, she always took us outside of here to know that there's more. And that's always been like my motto of, I know there's more. I just got to go out there and seek it. So the foundation of seeking outside of self, comes from her. And then you have resilience. I mean, I'm a tall girl in a school with short boys. Because I wasn't the problem. It's not that I was the problem. It's not that they were a problem. It was just the fact of just accepting where we are. And having the resilience to kind of push through a lot of the teasing and, things like that. And then I get to Minnesota. My degree is in computer science and statistics. Okay, so I, again, have set myself apart from everybody. Here I am, a Black woman studying computer science at
in a very white male-dominated space.
Right. And so I like to say that I was the first black person to graduate. I should say woman because there was a Black guy before me. But I was the first Black woman from the U of M Morris to get a degree in computer science. And I remember when they were taking a picture on graduation day, and I'm like, I cannot forget to be in this picture because I have not seen anyone else before me. And so every time it comes up in my Facebook feed, I make sure to post it. Because even in that space, I was told that I needed to change my major. Whereas my counterparts around me, they were getting the same grades, but they were not encouraged to change their major. So I think just like resilience is one of those things as a person of color is just kind of, it's just a part of our DNA tapestry, whatever word you choose, to kind of keep pushing forward. So it's I didn't know any different, right? Yeah. If I wanted to excel, I had to do what I needed to do to just kind of continue. So I could have, when they told me that there was no market for my inspirational product line, I could have just said, okay, well, I'm done. But I'm like, you can't tell me no. I'm not that type. I'm going to knock on the door. I'm going to peek through the window. I'm on top of the roof. That's just like in who I am, is just like trying to figure out a way.
Wow, I think that's beautiful. How lucky you are to have a mom like you had, who really did set that standard and that foundation. I mean, I think about for myself how valuable a program like you have and the support system like you have would have been valuable to me as a fourth grade young girl who was being called can opener because I had buck teeth and braces and glasses. And I had them for 5 years. So, middle school and that whole space, it's just a very real, people say that they're like, really, you? And I'm like, yeah, like we don't all like, yes, now I'm strong and confident as I stand with my superwoman pose. But, there was a lot that I had to get through. And thankfully I had really strong women in my life. Even outside of my household, I had my Shawntans who supported me in that space so that I could grow and be able to move in a place of confidence. And I think I too want the same thing for my girls. So when we look at that as our mission, nobody can get in our way.
Nope.
Don't question a mama bear.
I got a shirt. I should have wore it today. I have mama bear because I even remember having to go up to the school because I was going to have lunch, and I walked in and the little boy looked up at me and he was like, "Oh my God, you are so tall." And I said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "And that's why she's tall. So leave her alone." And so it's that advocacy, right? That's showing up and showing that she has somebody who is supporting her, who's backing her. And so if you're coming up against her, you're coming up against all of us, right? And I remember talking to a mom in one of our spaces, and I said, I think her daughter was being bullied or something like that. And I said, "Do I need to go up to the school?" I said, "You go one day, I go the next day." And we start having those conversations of, this is not okay. Right? She is supported. She is loved. And what do we need to give you in this space, right? There was a little inclination of that happening with Jalen. I went and had lunch with all of them. And what's going on, folks?
Yeah.
Because, the psychology behind bullying is because it's a learned behavior but it's a learned behavior.
It
right?
happens to them in their house.
Exactly. So it's just like, so I'm going to come in, let's have an open conversation about what's happening or why we're not supporting each other. So it's also about having those open conversations. And I remember saying to Jalen, like, this is a partnership, right? As you get older, my responsibility for you, my percentage kind of goes down and yours goes up, And I always did like this. I'm like, so, it's going to be a point where we're going to be 50-50 and I'm still going to be dropping and you're going to be increasing. And I said, it's not that I'm going away, but your responsibility for you continues to increase. But I'm your advocate. I am your cheerleader. I am all of these different things, but now you have to take the reins. And do you know this child, she reversed that on me.
They always do, don't they? They listen so good. You think they're not listening and then wham, it comes right back at you.
Oh yeah. I think I wasn't talking one day or something. I was just like ingrained. And she was like, mother, this is a partnership. So we have to have open communication. I said, really, child? So she listens. So that's a good thing, right? She may not just, she is 17, but yeah, just having those open conversations is really important, that this relationship is a partnership between us.
I talk about conversations a lot. And in my business, communication is so key when you start to talk about money. And any aspect of your life, but money touches every aspect of your life. And so a lot of times I end up joking that I am a, marriage and family therapist in some of my conversations with clients. But I joke in that space, but I'm also very honored to hold that space and be able to have those conversations, because when we are talking about difficult topics, it is important, like whether it is that we're trying to have the self-confidence to know our worth, and because we are all worthy. I sign off every podcast with "you are worthy of wealth." It's that mindset switch of knowing that we're worthy to be treated correctly. We're worthy of communication. We're worthy of wealth. We're worthy of the things that we want, the dreams and things that we want to be able to pursue. But we have to build in that confidence. And sometimes it comes with even saying, I don't feel this way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you touched on a good point, because even like running a nonprofit, I gave my all, right? I was, supporting this nonprofit and not realizing that when I'm writing these grants, I'm thinking that it is very noble and very like a good thing that we are a volunteer organization and whatever money that they're giving us goes out into the community. So I had to, and I'm still trying to just kind of understand how money plays a part for our organization. And it's about, in order for us to grow, we are going to have to hire people to do this work because it's really falling on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And just kind of coming to that, we have enough to start to support people, right? I remember our website went down, and it was because I had a volunteer who was responsible for the website, and literally she switched it over. And then the next day she told me she can no longer volunteer with me. And you would go to our page and the little HTML code.
Yeah.
That was what was on the page. And I had to look in our budget to say, can I afford to hire someone to get us up? And I remember having a conversation with a friend about the energy of money. Mm-hmm. And in order to get what you need, you had to spend for it to come back. And so that was the start of me opening my eyes to what money means and the power of money and just kind of the cycle that it has to have in order to produce what you need. And, as I thought about creating generational wealth with our LLC, I had to now I'm at the point of like, it's okay, Shawntan, if, we move into a space where you have to get paid. Right? Because it's like, I'd rather for the money to go to the girls. But I have to like make peace with and it even feels weird even saying it, but it's like, how do you trying to figure out how to make peace with me being paid as long as it's not being taken away from the nonprofit.
Do you think that the like the CEO of a foundation or any big nonprofit that we could name apologizes for getting paid?
I bet they don't. Mm-mm. And I've seen the little dollar lines, and it's like,
public. We know how much they make.
Yeah,
and I sit on boards of nonprofits, so I know what people make. Mm-hmm. And I also know that they work for that money, right? I know that they are so deserving in their blood, sweat, and tears and emotions and drive those. There are also other individuals that probably don't do the same. So if you're, this is your heart and soul, you have every right. I don't think any donor would ever argue with that aspect of things. Yeah. The energy of money is so real. Yeah. I think a lot of times we forget that aspect of things, or we just expect it to grow. Oftentimes I get asked by individuals, well, what's like the easiest way to grow wealth? Mm. First of all, there's no magic equation.
Not at all.
Formula. It takes discipline, right? Like it takes discipline to get to the spaces that you want to be in. Just like it's taken, discipline for you to, continue to do something after somebody said no.
Right. Yeah.
And you use the word resilience. That's actually on my vision board this year. So I love that you use that word. Actually was told by somebody in my professional life previously that I did not have resilience or persistence. And I was like, clearly you do not know who I am as an individual, but thank you for that. I am now going to have the most resilience and persistence than you've ever had. I'm going to be a pain in your rear end.
Wow. Yeah, go for it. Do it.
So, challenge. I mean, that's the confident Shannon, right? The fourth grade Shannon would have probably quivered and gone inside, right? But being able to have that inner confidence in ourselves has definitely done that. That's why I think the work that you're doing is just so phenomenal. So let's talk, like we've talked about this transition of idea to naysayers to, really discovering where you are right now and that you're worthy of being compensated as the nonprofit grows and potentially grows into other spaces. what are you doing now? And how, like, especially within the last year, how have you showed up for these girls who are going through so much, given the environments that we have been living in with racial unrest and COVID in the Twin Cities? I mean, it has been, you said it before, roller coaster. Like, it is a roller coaster.
I mean, I want to make sure, because you touched on a couple of great things that I want to make sure that I talk about. So I want to talk about our work pre-COVID, our current work during COVID, and the vision for the future.
Yeah.
And then that underlining of the civil unrest and how it impacted me as just not only a founder of an organization, you know, to empower girls, but as a Black woman. And
yes.
So I want to make sure, to kind of cover all of that. So pre-COVID, we did a couple of different things, right? One, we did our community workshops where we popped up in different communities around the Twin Cities. As a small org, that's really important because we don't have a brick and mortars or anything like that. So we are a mobile org. We were a mobile org. We also partner with women in the community that could teach our girls a skill or a trade in different career fields. We did our youth conference around the time school started to try to encourage our girls to just have a great year and give them the tools and techniques to have that great year, right? And then finally, we would host our overnight retreat, our mother-daughter event. So that was like pre-COVID. We had our plan laid. We knew what we were going into the year to do. Well, when we hit COVID, we had to really adapt and shift quite rapidly and in our entirety, right? Mm-hmm. So one opportunity is that we partner with the Minnesota Department of Health to bring COVID-related information to our community. And what that also allowed us to do was do what I call our community responsibility, where we brought in movement instructors and well-being experts to come into our space to get our bodies moving during this time of being at home, but then also experts in just kind of mindfulness, you know, anxiety, different topic areas to ensure that our communities, our family structures, our individuals, whomever, had what they need to just kind of survive, you know, at home right now during COVID. So we kind of strayed away from that girl-focused programming and really focused our time on community, on the families, the households. When that kind of winded down, we actually launched our very first Summer of Power program for the girls, because it wasn't that we forgot about them, but we wanted them to know that during this pandemic, they still had a power to persevere. School was just wrapping up. They were preparing to have a summer of the unknown. Mm-hmm. And so we actually launched this program. We had 130 girls in our program from across 6 states, even Canada, so international.
Yeah.
So that was like amazing. That was such an amazing experience. And then we were planning to host our mother-daughter just like normal, but with the election, our kids going back to school, it just kind of felt too much. So we didn't host our mother-daughter last year, but we are preparing to do a 3-part mother-daughter series this year, which is coming up in 2 weeks. So we really had to just kind of reimagine our work. So we're currently working with the University of Minnesota to revamp our curriculum so it can be offered in whatever state, you know, in person or virtually. So that's very exciting. So this is the future, right? This is what we're thinking for the future. We're currently in the process of launching a mentor program. And this goes back to 2 years ago in our at our youth conference when I sat back and I watched these 60 girls, right? And so I'm watching these girls and I'm just like, how many of these girls are we going to have another touch point with? Mm-hmm. How many of them are we going to be able to track their progress of them embodying the GRP mindset? And I walked away and I just said, we have to do something to create that space for girls to create community and really support each other and live out the Girls Are Powerful, mission of, owning and celebrating our power, understanding that my power does not take away from your power, working together across things that are set up to divide us, which is what our social, economic, our race, our culture, I can't say it, our culture, those things that are set up to divide us. And so coming into 2020, we had started thinking about, our mentor program, and then COVID hit and we had to push the pause button. So I'm excited to say that that's something that we're working on now. Our hope is to have a cohort going through in the spring. And then we have our youth advisory board, which is made up of 10 youth between the ages of 13 to 17. And they are tasked with, supporting the community of girls as well. But they were very instrumental in our work around COVID. They were out there putting on videos, all of those different things, just to talk about COVID and the impact COVID is having on them as youth right now. Yeah. So I'm going to stop there.
That's so, like, if people's socks are not knocked off, I don't know what, but you wanted to touch on too, like everything that happened this summer after the murder of George Floyd and the reaction for yourself as a Black woman. And I think that is, I want to make sure that we give you space to be able to speak on that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I had to come to realization is, when you are dealing with racial discrimination and all of those different things, because of resilience, you just kind of keep pushing forward, right? I'm gonna talk about me. I don't waddle in those things. And it's not to say that what happened to me in my career as a Black person, being here in Minnesota, didn't affect me, because it did. But I didn't let that stop me. And so when I was building Girls Are Powerful, the reason why it's important for me to have it be a program for all girls was my way of trying to help in this racial issue state that we're currently in, because I wanted girls to be in spaces with girls who don't look like them.
Yeah.
And that's really to also support my daughter as she continues to excel and move around the space. I want her to have allies. I want her to have support. And when you say the words, girls are powerful, I want them to understand that my power does not take away from your power, but together we can take up space. I will move out the way for your voice to be heard, vice versa. So we're truly creating that community. I never talked about that aspect of Girls Are Powerful. Never, ever. I just knew that was the foundation, a piece of the foundation. And so certain people knew that. I was very intentional in my selection of our speakers, making sure that it's a very diverse group. So you're going to see almost everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And very intentional in all of those different things. So when George Floyd was killed, it came real close to my household, because I live in a community that was very close to one of the officers, right? Who he actually lived in my community. And I had to just say, that was very close. And that did something to me that I really had to figure out my voice in a lot of this and being willing to now talk about. So removing that bandage and I'm talking about the impact and why we have a problem, people, right? Because I feel now people are open to listen. Whereas before, when I used to talk about that manager treating me unfairly, when I got pulled into HR, it was, nope, it's you, it's not them. And so now it's an opportunity because people are now listening. And now it's not even listening, they're also believing the Black experience. And it's real. And I had to figure out my voice. So I was talking to somebody and talked about having a deeper voice. And so now it's almost about me practicing what I'm preaching and being open to talk about my experience of being a Black woman in technology, a Black woman that's tall, a Black tall woman. I mean, all different aspects of me and the impact of those things that I've had. And that also drives my work and my passion for my work. So I just want to just talk about, like, I'm starting to practice what I preach and trying to be open and honest. I think the first time I started talking about this, Shannon, my voice like shaked because again, I never would talk about my experience because it was like, I don't know if it was shame or rehashing it and not feeling as if I was believed. And so now it's just like, no, it's real. Microaggressions are real. Flat out racism is real. And yes, I have experienced it. Now, moving forward, I'm trying to do my part to ensure that that doesn't happen to my daughter. And so I want to create this community. And that's what a part of what Girls Are Powerful is about, us coming together and supporting each other, regardless of what we look like, how we stand, all of those different things.
Yeah. And that our experiences are real and they deserve to be listened to.
Yes.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head in terms of people are listening now, not listening to respond and say, well, you know, such and such and such, but actually saying, oh, okay, not like I should probably shut up and just listen.
And listen. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thank you so much for sharing that and being vulnerable with our audience, because I think that helps everyone to see just how passionate you are about this organization and changing people's lives, that it is literally the blood that, you know, flows through your body, and how you want to make a difference. And it's beyond the lives that, and it's our daughters and the next generation and the next generation and the next generation.
Us.
Yes. Yes.
Us.
We didn't even talk about what you do to support the moms. We talked about like the daughters. We didn't talk about the moms. Maybe we'll have to have another episode to just talk about the moms.
Yeah, I think so. I would love to.
Yeah. May I'm doing a mother's special. So yeah, I think stay tuned. We're going to do.
Yes, we are.
Also, Shawntan and I might do side-by-side TikToks, so just stay tuned to that.
I already have my one out there. I think I have 3 out there that I love dancing.
Me too.
I mean, that was one of my escapes. So I can't catch dances like I used to. So my daughter and my cousin, I'm like, wait. Okay. Let me see. Is it this? And I remember, like, in the heightened part when we didn't know a lot about COVID, they were trying to teach me a dance and they got so frustrated with me. So there was one video where I didn't even continue. I just like jumped out the way.
My husband and I tried to do the kick dance one. And it took because he's not the most coordinated individual. Yeah, so it took us quite a long time to be able to practice doing it. But we discovered TikTok at the beginning of quarantine, and it was very amusing to us.
Yes, and I just downloaded the app. Before I was just like, no, I'm not. But I just downloaded the app, and I'm just like, oh my God, I want to do that one too. So I've picked up a couple of different habits. I mean, I'm now a K-pop fan. K-pop stan. I have my favorite groups now. And that's another way that my daughter and I have been bonding during this time and growing together. She'll be very proud that I announced that.
You're a K-pop fan?
Yes, I'm a K-pop fan.
I feel like I have to remind myself too, sometimes with my girls, they're a little bit younger than yours. They're 6 and 8. And so like what they like are like, my youngest loves playing hide and seek, and I have to like remind myself this is what she loves. So I need to go hide in this great hiding spot. And like, but it's how we bond with them, and like the relationships and the safe spaces that we take with them. Every morning in my gratitude journal, I write, I am a patient mother that creates safe spaces.
Yes.
And part of the reason why I left corporate America and started my own business was so that I could be more present in their lives, because I I know what it's like to have a mom who had to work 3 jobs constantly and couldn't be there as much as she wanted to be there, right?
Yeah.
It isn't that mom, I think a lot of times there is a lot of judgment on moms, and we can continue this conversation in May, but it's not that mom can't be there because she doesn't want to be there. It's because she can't, because she's making sure that there's food on the table and the rent is paid and the medical bills are paid.
Yeah. And I talk about that a little bit, right, with generational responsibility. So not just family responsibility. I also have like this generational, and this is kind of that conversation thing that me and Jalen has, and why I try to bring her into GRP is because this is my second full-time job, and I try to spend time. So I spend a lot on K-pop, not even knowing it, right? Before. And so COVID also allowed me to stop and like actually smell the roses is what I said. And I was just like, I love music. And that particular group just kind of like, oh, okay, I see them now. And so now we have a great, even though I put a mom spin on it because I'm always analyzing and, seeing things, but it also allowed us to stop and find commonalities. And things and spend quality time too. So, once I'm done at night, we go have our K-pop night. We kind of, enjoy music, and then I start it all over again. So it is kind of that blessing right now. That's a newfound interest of mine.
Yeah. Well, I think we sometimes in our darkest times, right, which some people have defined as 2020 and going into the beginning of this year. And as we kind of go into that unknown of what looks like to the transition out of COVID, there is brightness. And if we cling to that brightness and support each other and shine that mirror like you are doing for all of the young women and moms that are a part of your programs, I think that we'll be all right if we continue to do that.
Yeah, I'm here for you. It's my pleasure. I promise you, it really is my pleasure. I love this work. I love the creation. I love the outcome. I love the smiles and the like aha moments. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. So tell everybody like how people can, obviously it's a very different right now because we're still kind of in that quarantine COVID phase. So we're not doing live events and stuff like that, but how can people, can they follow the Girls Are Powerful on Facebook, right? Yeah. What else can they do to support the organization or become involved?
All right. So we are, our website is girlsarepowerful.org. You can follow us on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're on LinkedIn. So first step is like visit our website and follow along on our journey. But we are in a current state of recruiting for volunteers because we're going to need volunteers for our mentor program. Okay. My hope is that we can bring back our conference in the fall. I believe that we're probably going to go to more of a hybrid model eventually. But right now we're going to be trying to figure out how to create connections through our current state of virtual digital. So we're always looking for volunteers. In our youth advisory board space, we need some volunteers there. So there's work to be done in space for additional people. In order to support our new model moving forward, we're currently in the phase of revamping our board. So we'll be recruiting for board members. Okay. All of that this year. So we are really under this new vision of just kind of restructuring who we are as an organization and the work that we push forward. So many ways to get involved. I mean, please donate to us. I mean, yes. Don't forget about that. I think last year.
If you didn't say it, I was going to say it. So don't worry about it.
I know our finance person was like, Shawntan. But yeah, donations help us a lot. It goes to our programming and goes to our girls to create those experiences during this time. And we're going to do our Summer of Power again. And my hope is that it grows from 130 to 1,030. I mean, what could it be? I would love to hire a team to help me pack so I don't have to touch 400 boxes or 400 times. How many?
That would be wonderful.
child, that was an experience. You should have saw those faces.
Well, if I saw one like I did earlier, I think that I know what they look like.
And I promise you, once I got them out, I emailed the moms. I was just like, just please send me a picture of when your daughter received it. I said, because if you only knew how many times I had to open, close, and then the faces of the postal workers, right, with 130 boxes, it was all priceless. But those pictures of them receiving and opening, it made it all better.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to us doing this again.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited.